Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Arcserve SaaS Backup webinar today. I see a bunch of people are still trickling in, so we're going to give it a couple of minutes before we kick off here. So let's hang tight, and we'll start here in just a few minutes. Thank you. Hello, welcome everybody. We're going to start here in just a couple of minutes for our Arcserve SaaS Backup webinar. We still have a few people still joining and logging in. So just give us another minute or two and we will get started here in just a few. All right, welcome everybody to our Arcserve SaaS Backup webinar, our differentiated SaaS application protection solution. My name is Will Worley. I'm on the channel marketing team here at Arcserve, and I'm accompanied by my partner in crime, Martin Merrill, who's one of our sales engineers. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your attendance, and hopefully we'll keep this webinar to about 45 minutes. We know your time is valuable and appreciate you here in attendance today. Martin, if you go to the next slide, please. So just a little bit of housekeeping. So as our email stated, all of you in attendance today will get a $25 Grubhub at the conclusion of this webinar. So again, thank you for your time. Hopefully, nowadays that might get you a burger and fries, but hopefully that's a little bit of something for you. Also, towards the end of the webinar, we're going to give away 3 $100 Amazon gift cards. So please pay attention. We'll do those at random at the conclusion of our event. Also, we do have a quick poll that we're going to host before we do the drawing. It's one question, yes or no answer. So we'll have that up for just about 30 seconds for you guys to answer for us. And hopefully we, like I said, we'll get done with this in about 45 minutes. So let's jump right in. Let's move to the next slide, Martin. So for those of you who don't know Arcserve, this is a little bit of a busy slide, but Arcserve has been creating industry-leading and award-winning data protection and management solutions for on-prem, cloud, and hybrid workloads for the past 40 years, so since 1983. And we can confidently say we're the longest tenure manufacturer in this business continuity space. When you couple this with the merger of Arcserve and StorageCraft, which happened approximately 2 years ago, StorageCraft also has a strong history of innovation and award-winning solutions in this category since 2003. And what does that mean to our partners? Well, Arcserve is now considered a top 5 global leader in the data protection category, which brings both confidence and peace of mind to both our partners and our customers. Martin, if you move to the next slide, please. So this is a high-level look at the complete suite of products that Arcserve brings to the table, and really how our solution footprint spans the entire business continuity category. We presented this solution here in a way to help illustrate how our full stack can be utilized to meet the needs of your clients, while at the same time further your business from a sales and productivity perspective. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, we merged with StorageCraft a couple years ago. And as you know, there's a fine line between merger and acquisition. But really, if you look at our product sets, between the two companies, we never really have had any overlap of products. So if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see traditional, StorageCraft products, which we love today. Nothing is going away. So, Shadow Protect, with the award-winning virtual boot technology, cloud services for DRaaS. And then if you move over to the right side, what we'll call legacy Arcserve, really catered more to the mid-market and enterprise with our UDP solution secured by Sophos, along with our appliances, which are also secured by Sophos, and also alliances with our N series, which is in partnership with Nutanix. So really today we're going to focus on like I said, our SaaS backup solution, and you'll see it's more in the hybrid model, right? So it caters to both, our MSPs that we definitely value and love today, and also our VARs, which as well, we definitely love that business as well. And, really this really fits both sides of the house. And, with that being said, I don't want to take up too much of the time and really dive into, what Arcserve SaaS Backup has to offer. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Martin to get into it for us. Thank you, Martin.
Hey, yeah, that sounds great. Thanks a bunch, Will. I appreciate that introduction. As everybody can see, Arcserve they've been doing quite a bit over the years, and they've got some fantastic solutions. And what we're going to be focusing on today really is it's all about, what are we doing in the world of SaaS, software as a service, right? There's a couple things that you may or may not be aware of, or maybe you are and you're looking to Arcserve, because we're going to go ahead and address some of these challenges for you. But our conversation today is going to be surrounding, really, how do we protect that data? Why do we protect that data? And do we have a solution that's going to make being able to protect and retrieve and restore SaaS data, in a way that's simple and effective? Of course, the answer to that is yes, we do, and we're going to be highlighting that. But to give us a little bit of background, let's go ahead and kind of take a look at why this is even a relevant issue today. Right, let's take a look at what we're expecting as far as cloud application growth here up until, well, let's see, by 2029, as you can see the statistic right here, we're expecting that global SaaS market to grow quite a bit, right? We're looking at to reach about 720 billion in global revenue, or as a what do they call that, CAGR? I forget what that is, but like average growth rate, something like that, 25.89%. Yeah, we're looking for that to grow quite a bit here over the next few years, and there's a bunch of different reasons for that. Right? There's all sorts of things going on. We've got a list here of the different trends and drivers that are actually indicators as to why we're going to be able to have that kind of growth. And if you're looking at $720 billion globally, as far as the SaaS market, it's pretty significant. It will likely affect you if it hasn't already. Right? There's a lot of organizations that are moving to the cloud. In fact, there's all sorts of other businesses that are launching simply to support the business that you're doing in the cloud. But if you take a look at these drivers, a couple of them that stand out to me, used for real-time and historical data, the post-COVID hybrid workforce is also feeling the growth. The fact that everybody's now working from home, it's not like we can, plug right into the wall and have access to the on-site switches and routers and servers and all that kind of stuff that used to be prominent. I mean, I suppose they still are, but we're making those moves now to the cloud simply because of COVID. Crazy, right? Small scale advantage creates cost-effective adoption and ease of scale. All these different trends and drivers are indicators as to why we expect that kind of growth to happen in the SaaS market. Now, a couple things. It's interesting. The more conversations I have, the more I realize that the facts that are presented right here aren't necessarily as well known as I would have thought. A lot of people think, all right, great, I'm now going to start using Microsoft 365, or I'm going to use GCP, or I'm going to start utilizing, Google G Suite, or I'm utilizing Salesforce. I'm using these services that are offered, over the, in the cloud, over the internet, and we assume that pretty much all the responsibility from our data is actually going to be held by the providers of these different services, right? Well, as you can see right now, there's actually a little breakdown of what is the responsibility of the provider versus what is the responsibility of the users, right? You can take a look at that list right there. The SaaS providers' responsibilities, they're the ones that are responsible for the hardware that is actually utilized and making sure that it's maintained, making sure that their applications and services are up and running. They're the ones that are going to provide within their data centers whatever is necessary for avoiding power outages, securing it from physical intrusion. So everything over there listed in black, that would be the SaaS provider's responsibility. But you'll also look that there are some responsibilities that the end user is also responsible for. And I think there's a term for it. We call it the shared responsibility model, which is going to be prominent regardless of the SaaS provider or the SaaS service that you're looking at. It's going to be common across what you're doing with Amazon, what you're doing with Microsoft and Azure, Office there, Microsoft 365, Google G Suite, even in Salesforce. That's a very common thing, this whole idea of the shared responsibility model. And the user's share of the responsibility are going to be these things outlined here in blue. For the users, we're responsible for our data. We're responsible for administration, setting up our users. We're also responsible in terms of protecting that data, making sure that it's safe from ransomware attacks, viruses, et cetera, et cetera. Our data can still be compromised by the users that gain access to that data that's hosted there in the cloud. And so when you're looking at a means to protect your data in the cloud, you cannot necessarily rely, actually, you can't rely on the provider itself. You really need to understand that what you do in the cloud is your responsibility. And so it's important that that data is protected. All right, so let's move on here. And let's kind of strengthen that argument for a minute. If you take a look at Microsoft's own terms and conditions for the cloud, you can actually see there under service availability, item 6, section B, they strive to keep the services up and running, blah, 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 blah. But we recommend that you regularly back up your content and data that you store in the services or store using third-party apps and services. All right, so it's outlined right there in the terms and conditions for use that, hey, we're going to do all we can to make sure that our architecture, to make sure that all of our servers, everything that we've put in place, all the applications are sound. We'll keep things maintained. Certainly, they want to make sure that they're providing the best service that they can, but, nobody's perfect. Bad actors can still get in. There might still be some issues. So when it comes to the data, they say, listen, that's on you. Find some way to protect it. And, we've got some solutions here that I think are going to be able to help out. Now, you might be thinking, all right, but what is the likelihood? What are the odds that I'm actually going to have any issue as I begin to move, some of my applications or services now to a SaaS service provider? When organizations move to software as a service applications, they do gain a large value in the process where they no longer spend the resources of deploying, upgrading, and maintaining all that. So there's a really great benefit there. Don't necessarily need to invest then into significant capital expenses. In the cloud, everything is pay as you go, so it really is a great a great way to go and offer those services that are needed. Typically, email is the classic example where folks have embraced software as a services. But on-prem and in the cloud, you know, kind of like I've already said, there's still some chances that things might go bad. You know, there might be some you know, some disruptions. And as a matter of fact, it's really a question of when, not if, right? So if you take a look at this little detail here, by 2025, at least one major software as a service vendor will be breached by hackers. So we have a year to, you know, if it hasn't happened yet, which I actually think there've probably been several now that have happened, maybe not in prominent, you know, scenarios, but at least one major software as a service vendor will be breached by hackers, leading to data loss and business disruption, costing their customers more than $100 million. And this is actually a detail that was brought up by Gartner and printed in an article not too long ago. So again, it's not necessarily a matter of if, but it is a matter of when. So, you know, given the fact that something will happen to the data, you know, what does one do? Now, if I told you there's a 70% chance of rain, would you bring an umbrella? You know, they're telling you right now there is a good chance that one of these major providers is probably going to be hacked within the next year. I would say that's probably 70%, if not better, you know, chance of something like that happen. So, you know, if it's going to be, if you get a 70% chance to rain, you would probably bring an umbrella. You know, better than 70% chance that your data might just be compromised. You're probably going to want to find some way to protect your data as well. In fact, enabling protection for your SaaS applications is essentially bringing that umbrella, because you never know when that data will disappear, but you will know that you do have a solution to recover and get it back. Right, so that's what this is all about. And now that I've set the stage for, actually, no, there's one more thing that needs to be discussed, and that is right here, a couple things to take note of when it comes to data loss. In fact, you may actually be wanting to ask yourself a couple of questions here in just a second. But, you know, as you can see right here, there are several different reasons for data loss. The largest reason of which, as you can see right here, is actually human error. You know, human error is the biggest reason for data loss to begin to happen, or when there are actually issues with you know, access to certain tools, including data and stuff like that. Now, oftentimes they're just accidents, but they're still very disruptive nevertheless. Also, we do need vigilance on malicious players and how they want to disrupt your business activity. So again, a good thorough backup plan is the answer that's needed. So as you're considering, you know, what are you going to do if you're going to move into the cloud, how to protect it? If you're already in the cloud with some of these SaaS services, how do you protect it? There's a couple questions you're probably going to want to ask yourself. First off, what kind of data loss scenarios have you experienced? You know, have you been in business long enough? Probably so, you know, to actually see some of these human errors take effect. And you probably know then, yeah, you know, some of these things could have been prevented, but some of them maybe not. You know, accidents still happen. So what kind of data loss scenarios have you experienced? What's the most critical scenario that you've experienced? You know, looking back, what's the thing that's had the most critical impact on, you know, on the different services that you're offering, you know, given the disruption that was caused by whatever error or problem there was. And then in addition to that, what happened? You know, which data? How did you find the lost data, and how did you restore? Unfortunately, if you have to say, well, I don't know if I actually did get everything restored. Well, there we go. There's a little flag right there that says, hey, maybe you should take a quick look at what we have as far as protecting your data. All right. Anyway, yeah, reasons for data loss. There's several of them. And you know, remember, nobody's perfect. No solution is perfect. But man, having something that's going to keep things protected the best it can is definitely the way to go. So how does Arcserve help you to solve that problem? Well, we have a product, and we call it Arcserve SaaS Backup. All right. As you can see here, it's a unique cloud-to-cloud application. We're not just backing up to on-site servers that we host. We actually back up to some dedicated you know, servers that are held in certified data centers. We'll get to a little bit more of that detail in just a minute to keep that data safe and sound. It is a cloud native solution that's designed to ensure availability all the time. It's got great redundancy, which is actually a fantastic solution. Purpose-built for ultimate security. Immutable. If you take a look at that third line down where it talks about immutability, what is that and why is that important? Well, immutability is a term that is utilized to say, hey, once we've got this data saved, it cannot be changed, modified, deleted, by any kind of bad actor. So if you're dealing with an immutable solution, in this case, we're talking about, Arcserve SaaS Backup, that backup data, once we grab it, we encrypt it, and then we store it in an immutable method. That means that once it's stored in the Arcserve cloud, so to speak, in one of our secure data centers, it can't be changed. It will always be there. And if by any chance that data is infected with ransomware somewhere along the line, just know that data will not be changed. The stuff that's been backed up is going to be available to you regardless. And that final piece right there, single pane of management with multi-tenancy and RBACs, those MSPs that are out there, for example, and you want to be able to offer Arcserve SaaS Backup as a solution to your clients, you absolutely can do that. We have a multi-tenant capability, which allows you to say, okay, customer A, B, C, and D, they will all have their own little tenants within the solution. And then we also offer role-based access control, meaning that you simply, as you want to assign users their ability to go in and utilize the solution, you can assign very specific functions, capabilities based on roles that you've created, from administrator all the way down to podunk user, whatever it is that you want to say, we actually have that capability. So with the SaaS Backup solution, we are going to go ahead and do a quick little demo for that for you a little bit later on here in the webinar. But this is what we're talking about today. This is where our focus is going to be. So now you're probably asking, okay, great. You've got a fantastic solution to back up data, from my SaaS provider. But what providers do you work with, right? Well, so this would be them. All right. So right now we, of course, can back up and protect environments within Microsoft 365. We can also do backup across Azure Active Directory. We can do it across Microsoft Dynamics, Google G Suite, and also Salesforce. Okay, so all of these, and you probably know all of those. One thing that's really interesting, that the fact that we back up Active Directory, I don't know if you've done much research or if you've really looked into this too much, if Arcserve is the very first place you've gone to say, hey, what can we do about SaaS Backup? You're probably going to notice as you move forward, and some of you may already, if you look at other competitors, you might already know, hey, not a lot of them are offering the ability to back up your Azure Active Directory, but we absolutely can. So that also means that we can restore, configuration pieces of that Active Directory if there are any issues that happen there. So a couple of differentiators that you're going to notice right off the bat, but just notice, yeah, these are the different solutions that we utilize. So look at that, think about the different solutions that you have or that you offer and that you want to be able to protect. And I'll bet you, when you consider Microsoft 365 is pretty much the king of SaaS solutions right now, my guess is you probably have, or at least know people that are utilizing it, and can absolutely, we can absolutely utilize that to Arcserve SaaS Backup to address those different environments.
Hey, Martin.
Right,
hey, Martin. Sorry
yes.
to pause you real quick. I want to address questions as they come in, either via private chat or the questions pane. Does Arcserve SaaS support Microsoft GCC, which you covered, but at GCC high environments? I don't know if that makes sense to you, or if we need to elaborate a little bit further.
You know what? Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what differentiates that. We may need to mark that one down and get back to the user, because that one I'm not too sure about. That's a good question. Okay,
thank you, Martin.
All right. Yeah, no, thank you very much. Any other questions that are pending right now?
Nothing that I haven't been able to address, but as always, feel free in the questions pane, please feel free to type in the chat any questions you have, and either I would answer it or I'll get with Martin on the phone or private chat me. Either way, we'll get them answered one way or the other. Thank you.
Yep. Absolutely. Thanks, Will. Absolutely. Any questions that we can't answer right here during the presentation, we'll mark them down and we'll make sure that we get answers for you. So I appreciate that. Okay, so a couple things then that when you're selecting an application for your data protection needs, there's some key features that you want to make sure are available to make sure that you're optimizing that protection. So as you can see, the solutions that we offer and probably the solutions that you're looking for, they need to make sure that data is always available. Yeah, you make sure that it's got to be cost effective, right? It should also be simple. And I think you're going to find as we actually get into the demo phase here, and it's not going to be a large demo, maybe about 10 or 15 minutes, you're going to see just how simple the solution really is. It really is not a difficult solution to utilize. But also remember, backup is useless without the ability to be able to recover. So the fact that we offer an instant recovery is something I think is going to be very, very beneficial as well. Making sure that simple recovery is possible must always be part of your evaluation process. And lastly, keeping that data secure is also paramount. So you're going to be needing to look for a solution that really can provide all of these different different aspects or different issues that you want to make sure that are taken care of. With too many bad players in the world, SaaS Backup does need security. So with these key features to keep in mind when you're looking around, just know that Arcserve SaaS Backup absolutely provides these different features, right? I talked a little bit earlier about role-based access control. Okay. Sometimes, that can actually be really important, particularly if you're dealing, if you are an MSP, for example, and you want to be able to offer a solution like this to your different clients, and being able to allow those clients to enable their own access within their organization is going to be something that's very important to them. So as you can see, we've got a bunch of different roles that can be configured and applied to any of the different users that you want to grant access to the solution. So we can provide roles that help to create connectors, restore types of roles, the roles to preview files, et cetera, et cetera. So that entire list is something that we're going to be able to provide by way of the different role-based access that we create or that we enable, right? And then when it comes to, where are we storing the data? We already kind of talked about security being, paramount. It's important for you to note that all the data centers that we store this backup data, they all contain, or they all adhere to a number of different certifications. You can see up here, ISO, NIST, PCI, a number of these different industry certifications or industry, compliance frameworks we absolutely adhere to, right? You can see where the different data center locations are. We got them here in the United States, Canada, United Kingdom. They're spread out across the world. I don't know how many out of the U.S. Attendees we have today, but you can rest assured that we've got data centers that are pretty much all over the place, and you should be able to have access to them. Also important to note, at each of the data centers where we are keeping that data safe and sound, there are 4 different copies held across 2 different physical data centers that to make sure that data is redundant, and so no single point of failure is going to cause you to lose that data, and of course can give you that confidence in knowing that the StorageCraft solution is going to have uptime and continuous availability, regardless of where you're at and what situations might be happening. And then you're also going to find that our solution actually stacks up pretty good against the competition. In fact, I would say in most situations, we probably still have the strongest, series of tools and capabilities compared to a number of our different competitors. So you can see right here, we kind of stack up against 3 different competitors that you may have already noticed that offer a very similar solution to ours, but you will also see that there are a number of different features that Arcserve provides that the others really just don't, or are not really doing as good a job. So I think that coming here to Arcserve to take a look at our SaaS backup solution, I think it's a great place to start. Probably even a better place to land on, in my personal opinion. But you can see that we are very, very competitive in the world of SaaS backup, right?
Hey, Martin.
If you really wanted to look, yes, go ahead.
Sorry. Back on the data center. Obviously, they're private data centers, and there's 2 of them that are replicated for high availability. Someone's asking about SOC 2 or similar type compliances. Do you know that offhand, or is that something we need to?
So to more specifics, we're probably going to need to know. I don't know that SOC 2 is listed specifically, but we do adhere to the AICPA, which I know that also is a, it's a SOC compliance thing. But yeah, let's. I think so. I think SOC 2 is just I think it's met by this certification right here, already meets those details. But that's just me talking and thinking. So yeah, we can probably write that one down as a let's get back to them. Yeah.
Okay.
Good question. Great questions, guys. I'm glad we're getting the questions here. It means that I'm chatting about things that are relevant to you. So that's fantastic. Okay, so before we jump into the demo, let's summarize a little bit here on what the competitive differentiators are between Arcserve and some of those other solutions that are out there. All right. The Arcserve solution is secure. I mean, it's secure from the bottom up. We actually built it with security in mind, immutable backups of the data with encryption at rest as well as in transit. All right. So when you're considering how secure is that data, it's secure. We're not going to lose it. You're going to have access to it, right? And it's not going to be changed. Once it's backed up, it's there. It's good, and you can have confidence in that. Right. We also offer a delete protect, so a 30-day retention to salvage data in the event of a ransomware attack or inadvertent deletions. Data sovereignty, again, 4 copies of the backups in 2 different data centers within the same geo. Right. It is a very cost-effective solution. You're granted unlimited storage. I'm going to say that with a little bit of an asterisk. Unlimited certainly means use as much as you want with a retention policy, I think by default of like 100 and some odd years or something. So that's kind of where we're getting that. But, unlimited storage, unlimited retention of backups with a per user pricing. And that pricing is not going to go up as your usage goes up. Right. That's probably something that might be beneficial and nice to you as well. Broad and extensive coverage. Best-in-class protection for M365 and other SaaS applications, quick and easy setup. I'll walk you through briefly how you can actually add connectors, or at least Microsoft connectors, when I begin this demo here for you. You can see just how quick and easy that is. Smart search and accurate restores. Tamper-proof cloud infrastructure, the only independent cloud, secure and dedicated to SaaS data protection. So these are all things that I think strengthens our case, to say, hey, we got a solution that I think you're going to enjoy. I say enjoy, but probably rely on is more appropriate, but something that I think you're going to find to be an investment well worth your while, right? So that's it. That's my series of slides. Everybody's probably breathing a sigh of relief because nobody really likes the slides. I just hope that a lot of the data that was shared with you is relevant. And we're going to make a quick little transition now to a demo, right? Everybody loves the demo because we actually get to take a look and see what the solution actually looks like. So let me make a quick little transition here out of my presentation and into the solution itself. Give me just 1 second. It seems to have automatically logged me out of my environment, so I gotta log back in. There we go. Get rid of that. So I'm logging into the solution right now. And I think I got that password right. Ooh, I certainly did. All right, so Arcserve SaaS Backup. This is the environment that you're going to be greeted with when you first log in. Maybe not for your very first time, but I'm in a demo environment right now. So once I've got a couple connectors added and it's starting to do its work, I'm going to be greeted with a nice little dashboard, which kind of gives me some data on all the different connectors that we're currently backing up. Connectors being essentially connections into my SaaS solution. So we've got Azure Active Directory backup, et cetera, et cetera. And if I wanted to get details on any of these different connectors, it'll give me details as far as, have backups completed successfully, different backup statistics, and all of this good information that if I ever want to know, hey, are backups happening? Are there any failures? Is there anything that I need to be made aware of? It's this dashboard that can kind of help you capture those things. Microsoft 365. my Exchange, environment. All of that can be found right in here. That's all great, right? But you're probably going, well, yeah, I've never used this before. If I wanted to get this set up, you said it was going to be pretty simple, right? Pretty simple to add a connection. How do I actually do that? All the connectors that we have are listed in its own little connector view. So these are all the current connectors that we have added from the bunch of different SaaS environments, right? But if I wanted to add something new, I would simply come over here and say add connector. All right, let's say I wanted to add another Microsoft 365 connector for maybe a new client that I've got as an MSP or something along that line. I'll go ahead and open it up. It's going to force me to sign in. I'm going to need to sign into my actual environment. So I've got my own Office 360 or my own Microsoft 360 account. It is going to say, hey, you got to make sure that you give it permission to be able to access all these different functions, all the read and writes to the different groups, et cetera, et cetera. I need to go ahead and grant access. So when I do that, I go ahead and accept. And once I do that, it'll go ahead and take a look at the environment and it'll say, all right. There. Okay, so this new connector then, what are the different pieces within that connector that I want to back up? So given that this is Microsoft 365, I've got Exchange, I've got OneDrive, SharePoint in my environment. All of these by default are selected to be backed up. Now, if I needed to configure any of these, let's say I wanted to configure my Exchange environment, I'd go ahead and do that. I can then filter through all the different groups of individuals. By default, it's going to select everything. If I wanted to come over here and maybe not do all the different users, I can go through here and maybe say, all right, let's go ahead and include all these, but I don't want Nestor and Lee for whatever reason. Maybe I know they're on their way out and it's like, yeah, let's not worry about them this time around, or, whatever it is. But you can go ahead and select who you want to back up, what you want to back up, in my Exchange environment, and it'll go ahead and get that set up. Similarly with OneDrive, groups and teams, SharePoint also kind of the same idea. I think I got a demo environment without a whole, yeah, I got some sites. So yeah, so there's a bunch of different sites that I can either select. Again, the default is to go ahead and select all of them. I can drill down into the different sites, kind of like, well, maybe not, never mind. I can't. So anyway, you choose which sites you want to collect, which groups. If I go into teams and groups, it's a very similar story. You just go in and say, okay, what gets backed up, what does not, and then go ahead and hit save, and it'll go ahead and add that connector. It really is as simple as that. So when you talk about ease of configuration, ease of setup, we've made that process very, very simple. All right. Okay, well, great. Hey, so now that I've got my connectors gone in, I've got my Salesforce, my G Suite, I've got Microsoft 365, Active Directory, whatever it is that we're wanting to protect, and we've got those connectors now established. The backups and everything else, it's all automatic, right? We will back up twice a day. So you can be sure that those backups are going to happen twice every single day. I think they're separated by like every 12 hours, I suppose. It was happening twice a day, and you can make sure that from that point forward, your data is going to be protected. Well, then the next question is, that's fantastic. How do I restore? Let's say I actually end up in a situation where maybe I don't have access to a service because it's gone down, or maybe data has been deleted accidentally or maliciously, perhaps. Maybe poor old Microsoft has finally had that hacking that we were talking about, and it finally happens before 2025, and now all that data that you had in there is compromised, but you still need access to it. What's the restore actually look like? It's pretty simple. There's really not much that you got to worry about. What you'll do is you'll take a look at the different connectors that you've got. For example, let's say I wanted to take a look at my my Exchange and OneDrive data. I have an Exchange and OneDrive connector. That's all I'm protecting within this environment. I've got some users here, and let's say it's not the person that I wanted. I don't want Brian. I want Megan, because I don't know, I just like Megan. But let's say I wanted to grab some emails for Megan. I'll go ahead and go to Outlook, take a look at her inbox, and here we go. Here's all the emails that have now been backed up for Megan. All right. And if I wanted to restore, I simply come over here, and here's my options for restore. I could go ahead and share it as a link. I could actually download the email itself, or if I wanted to, I just go ahead and restore it, and it'll go ahead and take it and restore it back to my live email. All right. So there's a number of different methods to restore. It's a similar story if I wanted to go back, say, and take a look at her, Megan. If I want to go take a look at maybe her OneDrive data, you know, got several hundred megabytes in there. You know, there's some documents here. I want to say I wanted to grab my, you know, same idea here, the overview document. You'll notice the same options are available. I can share a link, I can download it, I can restore it back, you know, to Megan if I wanted to do that, right? So we've made recovery something that is very, very simple to do. You simply drill down on the connector, find the resource or the item. We even have a search bar up here. So if I wanted to go ahead within this connector and let's say, you know, well, I put my fingers on the wrong place. There we go. You know, what is that? I thought I saw a document there. Yeah, okay, so we got several Contoso options here. Let's say I wanted to go ahead and report. I would just simply come over here and choose those restore options that I was looking at. Now, when we create a link, you know, when we share, you know, we'll go ahead and create that link, right? We can then set a time limit if we want that link to be available. That's definitely an option. If we want to add a password, we absolutely can, to make sure that only individuals that to have the detail that are needed to access that link can actually do so. So when you are creating a public link, you can do that. And currently we are saving those links. So you can go in and you can see which links have actually been generated. We already have a link, say, for, you know, certain items. We can actually go in and find out what's currently there. And at any point in time, we could also go through and delete those links, reshare them, you know, or even just go to the folder location that those are at and get some more detail as we need to. So that's one way to do the restore. But you also might be saying, well, yeah, that's great, but you know, one of my employees has left the organization, and you know, currently there's no access at all to that old email account or that Microsoft 365 account, and I need to be able to kind of restore all of that back. Maybe that individual's being rehired, and you want all that historical stuff to go back to that individual so that they can have those older emails, have those older documents, and have access to them again, so they can resume what they were doing within that role, or maybe even reassign those items to other people. You know, let's say that she's got some SharePoint data or some stuff stored in OneDrive that's unique to him or her, but nobody else can access it because that individual is no longer there. So can we restore, you know, can we restore bulk items? Is there a better way to restore than just a single item individually? And the answer to that is yeah, right? So let's go ahead and say, let's go back into my Exchange, for example, all right? Yeah, Exchange in OneDrive. Let's say I wanted to do a more advanced recovery. I can absolutely do that. I'll come over here and I'll open the Restore Wizard. And this Restore Wizard then gives me an option to either restore or to do an import. And I'll tell you the difference here in just a minute. Let's say I wanted to do restore. I'll go ahead and select that option, go next. I can then choose, you know, which time frame. You know, do I want to choose the most recent point in time, or maybe a point in time, you know, a little bit earlier? I can actually kind of scroll through and say, all right, let's say from, you know, February 2nd, I want to go ahead and restore from this backup point in time. I'll select it, go next, and then I'll be able to choose, you know, it'll go ahead and restore all of these different items. Oh, it's not letting me do that. What? Oh, no such data found. Let's not. Oh, that's because. All right. Maybe it doesn't like that. Let's go to most recent stuff. At some point, though, it should. All right, hold on. Let's just go here. Using a demo environment, sometimes we're dealing with data that isn't. Let's try this in here, see if I can get some bulk data here. And yeah, we'll just choose that option. No, it doesn't like that either. Nah. All right, I think I might just be have some limitations on my account. But the idea here is, you know, we'll go ahead, you'll walk through a little wizard, you will choose the data area that you want to restore from, the scope, which is usually kind of a time frame, how you want to restore. Now the method here is interesting. The method is, you know, do we want to restore this all back to an individual account, or do we want to provide links or some other method or some other methodology or ability to get that data out? Now, I had mentioned, you'll notice that there's the option to restore or to import. If I wanted to do an import instead of restore, essentially this would be the option that you'd have if you wanted to say, all right, I want to restore the data, but it's not going to go to the original location. We're not going to call it a restore necessarily. We will simply import it into somebody else's account. And that's what the import option is. Now, I'll bet my limitations will probably be the similar here, so I don't know that I'll be able to. Oh, it says import from connector. Yeah, let's see if we can do that. Hopefully it's got some relevant data. Nah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we got email. Yeah, let's do it from Exchange. There we go. This is working. All right. Let's say it's just email, and it allows us to filter through the users. There we go. So let's say that this is Adele's, initial, data, and then I want to restore back to Adele because she was a user that left and then came back. I could absolutely do that. But let's also say that I want to provide access to Deborah as well. I would go ahead and select her. Oh no, that would be from her data, but we also want to go ahead and restore to Deborah. There we go. And then when we hit next, and this is where we'll be able to choose. We want this to be an in-place restore. Do we want to restore to a new folder? If I choose in place, you'll also notice there's an option to skip duplicate items so that when it restores, if there's duplicates, it'll ignore those and only restore stuff that is deleted or missing from that particular user. But you can see this is what your method is all about. Once you've chosen the correct method that you want to restore, hit next, and it'll go ahead and start that restore process. So as you can see, bulk email restores, bulk email imports, those types of things, or data restores, data imports, those are all available to you as well within the solution. So, I mean, it's a very brief overview. We're already got about 46 minutes into. You'll notice that we've got a number of other tools that are available to you within Arcserve SaaS Backup. There's a job monitor. We'll also go ahead and give you details on individual jobs that have been run. Essentially your backup status, those types of things. We have, again, the link, the list of links that we have created, recovery links. And we also have an audit log, so we can see what's actually going on, who's logging in, who's doing what are the different functions that are being performed, et cetera, et cetera. So a very quick, overview of the Arcserve SaaS Backup solution. I'm hoping that this has kind of given you a nice glimpse into, how the solution can be utilized and worked with. At this point, though, given that we are just about on time, let's get back into the presentation. And there we go. I think I'm going to turn the time now back over to Will to kind of finish things up for us. There we go. There's a point in time. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, by the way. Yeah. All right, Will, I guess it's all you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you, Martin. Great overview of Arcserve SaaS Backup. And obviously, with demo environments, they could be challenging, right, at times. But we definitely appreciate your time. Just a couple of quick notes. We do have some promotions and incentives going on for our MSPs, which I believe a majority of you are MSPs that are on the call today. One of them is an incentive base. So basically the incentive in a nutshell is you get $50 for every 10 seats you add for a new customer. So to put that in perspective, if you have 10 clients and each one has 10 seats, 50 times 10, you'll net yourself $500. In addition, from a promo perspective, and this one's a really great one, if you have a seat commitment, and this is overall seats, not just clients, if you commit to 100 to 250 seats, we'll lock you in at a price. Again, this is for the MSPs, which again, I believe most of you are, at $1.80 per seat. That is a great deal. And then if you go from 250 seats or more, we'll lock you in at $1.60 a seat. And you're locked in, that pricing will not change. And something that, I want to touch on and talking to many partners for the past, 6 to 8 months. A lot of folks that I talk to that are using Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace, they're paying a lot of money to keep active accounts, just to have them active for employees that either left or were terminated or for whatever reason. This is a much less expensive way to keep that data versus continuing to pay those extra licensing fees with those organizations. So if you're interested, you have any questions, about those, you can reach out to your dedicated channel account manager. If not, we'll also be sending out a follow-up email post probably tomorrow with a form fill. So if you are interested in that, you could, and you don't know who your channel account manager is, you could fill that out, and we'll get in touch with you to talk more about that promotion. Before I do the big $300, $100 Amazon gift card giveaways, I'm going to launch a quick poll for about 20 seconds. If you don't mind, if you could answer that for us, that would be great. So I'm going to launch the poll here now, and please fill that out if you can. Sorry. There you go. So if you can, please, help us with our, marketing and data analytics of, where you guys are seeing your strengths and growths. And we just want to know if, data protection revenue stream is a priority for you for 2023. Give it about another 5 to 10 seconds. And I will close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, poll is closed. And again, thank you all for your time. And throughout the presentation, I've randomly pulled some names for the gift cards. As soon as this call concludes, I will send an email to you just to verify, some with work accounts, we're receiving e-gift cards. You might want it to your personal email. So I will email you just to verify where you want that sent. But winner number 1 is Brian with Gemini Computers. Number 2 is Bob with CMIT. And for the last one, it's Lauren with High Tech. So congratulations to our $100 Amazon winners. Again, I will send you guys a quick note just to verify where you want that gift card sent, just to make sure nobody gets in trouble. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your day and great rest of your week. And Martin, thank you as always for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, congratulations to the winners too. Nice job.
All right. Bye, everybody.